Hello guys and welcome to my first video. Here we have what I'd like to call a very intriguing fight. We have a very all-rounded fighter in Curtis Blaydes, ranked number 2nd in the heavyweight division, against a classic striker in Derrick, ranked number 4th. Also two of my most favorite heavyweights to watch. Let's begin. I'd like to start with Curtis Blaydes. First I'm gonna break down his recent fights and performances, then his fighting style, then I'll go through the same for Derrick Lewis, and after I'm gonna drop my prediction and tell you who I'm gonna put my money on based on all of that and how their styles fare against each other. So Curtis Blaydes lost to Francis Ngannou in November 2018 for the second time. This was his second loss on his record, not a bad loss. Really, who doesn't lose to Francis nowadays? Also, considering these are the only two losses Curtis Blaydes has, he has a very decent record. Fought and beat top heavyweight competition inside the UFC, KO'd Shamil Abdurakhimov and Junior Dos Santos, and had a very good dominating decision win recently against Alexander Volkov via grappling. Curtis Blaydes has a top level striking, he can KO people on the feet, he likes to grapple and has a really good ground domination skills. He has finished a lot of his opponents via ground and pound. His ground and pound is very good, man. He grapples his opponents when he knows when they pose threat to him on the feet, such as what we saw happen to Volkov, and that's exactly what I believe is gonna happen to Lewis too, but I'll get to this in a second. Lewis's last performances were not good for me, not by any means. Out of his last 5 fights, he lost 2 and won 3 on paper. I say on paper because out of these 3 wins, he won convincingly only his last fight against Oleinik. He got a split decision win over Blago Ivanov, which was a very controversial decision. For me personally, Ivanov won. He took down Lewis a number of times, did some good job on the feet too. I think the judges didn't score one of his takedowns in that fight, correct me if I'm wrong. Even Lewis admitted himself he thought he lost that fight. Lewis's record against Ilir Latifi says unanimous decision win. That fight went very similar to the Blago Ivanov fight, where Lewis got dominated on the ground a lot. This wasn't a convincing win either, and then comes Derrick Lewis's last fight. He KO'd Oleinik, a 43 years old Oleinik. Good job Lewis, but you ain't beating the Razor Curtis Blaydes. I think this fight will go similar to how DC Lewis fight went. DC ragdolled Lewis on the ground, scoring takedowns at will. Same thing Blaydes did to Volkov, and he will do exactly the same to Lewis as well. Curtis Blaydes has grappling to his arsenal, which for me will decide the outcome of this fight. As I said, I believe the fight will go similar to the Blaydes-Volkov fight, where Curtis dominated Volkov on the ground for the majority of the fight. Let's not forget Volkov dominated Derrick Lewis on the feet for 3 rounds until Lewis slapped him surprisingly in the 3rd. Volkov is a very elite striker and he had some struggle on the feet fighting Blaydes due to the takedown threat. Same thing as when Conor got dropped by Khabib round 2, even though Conor is a better striker than Khabib, no doubt there, but that's how the takedown threat works. You're too cautious about being taken down and you get smacked in the face instead. Here you can see the same thing. Volkov's thinking Blaydes is going for the takedown and he punches him in the face instead. Absolutely the same pattern. I think Lewis is going to get ragdolled and demolished. Lewis has a decent takedown defense, but we've seen him being taken down a lot in his recent fights by decent grapplers such as Blago Ivanov, Ilir Latifi. Also there is the DC fight, so I believe Blaydes will absolutely ragdoll him, kinda like what DC did to Lewis. People on Tapology go 22% Lewis to win, 90% of them think if that's going to happen it will be by knockout, and 78% for Blaydes to win, 48% says he wins by way of knockout, 39% of them say he wins by decision, and so am I. I say Blaydes wins this by decision. He will dominate on the ground. Blaydes usually doesn't submit people, he just prefers to control them on the ground, drain their energy and then finish them by knockout on the feet or ground and pound. So I don't see Blaydes submitting Lewis. I prefer more the safer route for betting, so I bet simply for Blaydes to win, but if you feel confident, Blaydes via decision is a good pick too. I think it's more likely than Blaydes KOing Lewis, but that's an option too. Just don't go too crazy on the bets on this one. Blaydes might get KO'd stiff by Lewis as well. Unlikely, but he might. In the fight game, the puncher chance has always been a thing, and Lewis is a knockout artist. He holds the record for the most knockouts in the heavyweight division, so I can definitely say that possibility is there. It happened to Blaydes before when he got KO'd by Ngannou twice. Lewis have a really decent knockout power, so this chance will always be there in all his fights. I don't like lying to people, saying things like, oh yeah, this guy is gonna win 100%. No, there is not such thing as 100% in MMA. There are way too many ways a fight can finish, but I personally don't see that many ways for Lewis to win this fight, and that's why I put my money on Blaydes. Lewis has the power, but he's not the same level of a striker as Ngannou. Although he has a win over him on paper, that wasn't a real win. It was maybe the biggest joke of a fight the UFC have ever seen. I think Ngannou KOing Lewis stiff in a rematch if he shows up unlike the previous time. So there is my prediction for this fight. Blaydes by unanimous decision. Please subscribe to my channel for more predictions, and if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. This will really help me out and motivate me to continue doing videos like this one. It's very time consuming. So thanks for watching. See you on my next prediction video. Stay tuned.